All right. All right. We are recording and good evening. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I'm super excited to share. And I know Sharon's enjoying just relaxing a little bit while I do share tonight. And I'm really excited to share with you guys because I'm somebody who is really into personal development. I'm really into all those kinds of books and goal setting and all that kind of stuff. And I know that it's something that I do carve the time out in my life to work on. And I know it's something that a lot of other people struggle with. So, and it's always exciting for me when I have the opportunity to speak about it and to hopefully win a few more converts over to the world of personal development and investing time into that, but also to share with you something that I've discovered it was actually at the Florida Tropics Boot Camp I find it to be just revolutionary, and probably I consider it the most important discovery I've found in personal development over the years. And so you know how it is, like I'm always doing like these goals and the why exercises, and I love doing all that kind of stuff. But for some reason, it always feels like we go from one book or one method to another. Then the next year we kind of have a new book we're focused on, but now we're going to do, getting the hard things done. And then the next year we're going to do Goals by Brian Tracy. And it's always something different. And it always feels a little bit hit or miss for me. That's always been my experience. And I've watched, as we have a large team, seeing you guys kind of go up and down and struggle a little bit here and there. And I've always felt like there's something missing. But this book called The Miracle Morning was shared with me by Clayton and Stephanie Getz. If you were at the Florida Tropics Boot Camp, they did something on it there. And I talked to Clayton about it a lot, and then I got the book and I started doing it. And what I found is it's almost like the missing link for me, because we always, setting goals is great. Being excited about things are great. Having a why, like why I want to make a lot of money or why I want to be in shape, is great. But if we don't have the motivation and the mental discipline to do that, it doesn't make any sense. So what we do is we try to power through, and that doesn't always work. So what I've discovered with this are some great little secrets. So I'm going to share them with you tonight. The book, let me show you a picture of this book. It's it. In case you go on to Amazon and you're going to be ordering that thing, it's The Miracle Morning. Now, it's by Hal Elrod. And there is another, there's a lot of different versions of the book you'll find. And there's one for network marketing. There's one for, hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Got to fix this. Okay, so there's one for network marketing. There's ones for real estate. There's ones for everything. He made a lot of books, and they're not always written by him. So I've gotten the one that's specifically for network marketers, and I've found that it's not nearly the same thing. So stick with the original. It's by Hal Elrod, and it's a not so obvious secret guarantee to transform your life before 8 a.m. So I know that's a little scary, because for some of you guys, the thought of 8 a.m. and the morning time is a scary thing, but trust me, it's worth it. And I'm going to hopefully convince you that you can do it. And Joel Osteen said that life begins each morning. And that is so true. It's like each day is kind of new, and we have new opportunities. And it's just a beautiful thing if you think of it that way. So many of us lead, kind of a life that we're not feeling 100% great about. And sometimes we come up a little bit short, and that can be in like big things, but also in little things. Maybe it's just inviting to an event or going to the gym or things like that. But the truth is that we all have that potential. We all have this ability to be successful at things. When we think about, and obviously this applies to everything. And I think my kids might be hearing this or whatever. It applies to schoolwork. It applies to basketball. It applies to golf. It applies to our business. We'll focus mostly on business here. But there's not some secret magic special formula that, let's say, like Sharon Farrar has that other people don't have and make it impossible for them to reach, 50 Club and beyond. I think you guys would be surprised at how, I don't mean this in a bad way, but how chaotic and disorganized we can be here at our house, and things are still moving forward. But we can all do it. You can all do it. And I love those hype sessions when Wendy Campbell is just, telling you guys, you're good enough, you can do this. And the reason she gets so passionate is because she believes in herself, but she wants you to believe in yourself too, because you can really all do it. And that's what we want for you. That's why we're leading you guys and helping you understand this. And the goal here is for you to become who you need to be to create everything that you've ever wanted, for your life. So that's a key statement right there. It's not about, the goal isn't to get 10 customers a month. The goal isn't to have, enough PV legs and enough structure and enough PVC to be an NMD. The goal is to become the person you need to be in order to make that happen. All right. So when we focus on that, that's when you're going to see unlimited potential and no limits in your life. So remember that goal. It's really, really important. I have to change my screen here. It's driving me nuts. Hold on a second. Okay. This thing. Here we go. Oh, that's.
Well, can I butt in since you're changing your screen?
Go ahead.
So I love the affirmation that is on this book. So you're going to share that about the only difference between you and someone who's more successful?
Yeah. We're definitely going to. All right. So here's a great quote from the author, and that is another part of this is accepting responsibility for everything in your life. In fact, he says the degree that we accept responsibility is the degree that we have the power to change or create anything in your life. So think about it. Are you somebody that, that says, oh man, it's, what's the problem with this? Do you complain? Do you blame other people when things don't go right? Or who are you blaming? Who do you point a finger at? The most important one to do that. I had a pastor once that would say, when you're pointing your finger at me, you got 3 more pointing back at you. And I think that's important. John Maxwell calls it the mirror moment or the mirror principle, that we have to look in the mirror and ultimately feel like we are responsible for what's going on. We are the one that's in control. Now, we can't control certain circumstances, but we can certainly control how we react to those circumstances. And that is going to be an important factor in how everything happens for us and how much success we have. So make sure you're taking responsibility, not blaming yourself in a bad way and like shaming yourself, but taking responsibility and having what they call in psychology, which they call it an internal locus of control. Like, do you feel like you have control in your life? And if you don't, that's just a truth that you need to learn more about and you need to be curious about and research it, read about it, and get into books like this and learn more about that principle. Because it is true, we do have a ton of control over what happens and what kind of stuff we kind of make happen by our attitudes. And you gotta love Oprah. She says great things, but she says the biggest adventure you can ever take is to live the life of your dreams. And that's what we want for you guys. We want you guys to move forward. But why aren't we moving forward? What are the things? Think for a moment, like, why aren't you moving forward? Well, one of the things that they talk about in the Miracle Morning is the fact that we have like a rear view mirror focus. Instead of looking out at the road in front of us, we're looking in the rear view mirror and thinking to ourselves, we're having those stinking thinking thoughts about what went wrong in the past and this limited me before and I wasn't able to do this, instead of looking forward at what's ahead. So when you're looking in the rear view mirror, it prevents you from taking risks because you're afraid and you think, oh, but yeah, I want to do that, but what about this and that? And why would you even say but? or what, well, yeah, but, and that kind of thing. You would only say that because you're referencing past thoughts, okay, instead of looking forward. It also prevents you from getting out of your comfort zone. You don't go out of the fact that you even have a comfort zone is based on your previous experiences in life. Now, of course, we all have these experiences. We all have insecurities. It's normal. But you have to realize that a lot of this stuff isn't even it almost isn't real. It's an experience. And then the way we respond to it is a choice we're making. Okay, so if we kind of let go of the rear view mirror and we look forward, we're going to get out of our comfort zone and move into new areas and just be bold. It also prevents us from having big goals if we're looking back too much, because it didn't work before, so now it's not going to work in the future. And like they say, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. We have to be doing new things. We can't just do what we've done, and we can't let that hold us back. And then ultimately, it prevents you from being the person you need to be in order to reach your giant, crazy goals. Okay, so remember, it's about becoming the person you need to be to create everything you've ever wanted in your life. Okay, so in order to break out of this stuff and do something different, we're going to need to train our brain. We need to work on it. Now, I know you hear it all the time, and you hear your leaders telling you personal development. And I know some of you, you feel there's so many reasons. Think about let's do a personal development excuse list, right? We could have a t-shirt. I don't have time. My kids are driving me crazy. I already read all those books and it didn't matter before. And the biggest one always comes down to time, because if you look at time as like a slice of the pie, a pie graph, there's only so much pie to go around. And if you take an hour into personal development a day, that's an hour that's got to come from somewhere else. And you're thinking, well, I can't cut out this, I can't cut out that. Well, what am I going to do? Not call customers and not call prospects and not play with my kids. And, but we have to find a way to make time for it. So training your brain is a big deal. And, there's a book Sharon's reading right now called Train Your Brain. That's pretty amazing. And we've been doing some exercises in there and learning a lot. And I know you're going to be hearing more about that probably I figure it'll take her about a month before she's really ready to move on that thing. So when it comes to training our brain, this is a great concept that I didn't really realize this. And I know this is probably some of you guys on here probably, I know Sharon has 2 master's degrees in psychology. So the fact that I'm 50 and talking about this around the house, she's thinking, yeah, right. Why didn't you know this 30 years ago? But I learned this from a life coach podcast that's really awesome. And it explains to me a lot of the thing where we want to have great results. We want, we set goals after conference and we want to do these things, but then we don't. And then I've always wondered, what is motivation all about? How does that work? And I've always been kind of a power through kind of guy. And it doesn't really work to power through. That's usually a temporary thing. But in reality, if you break down how results happen, it's because what we think about creates certain feelings, okay? And your feelings determine your actions. So however I'm feeling is what I'm going to do. If like Sharon likes to call it, if you're down in the dumps, you're probably not going to be calling up people and sharing Juice Plus with them, okay? And whatever got you in the dumps was because it was thoughts that got you to those feelings. Now remember, we can control our thoughts. How we respond to a circumstance is a choice. So if we can learn to train our brain, we can kind of hack the system. So our thoughts determine our feelings determine our actions, and our actions ultimately give us our results. So we want to have great actions, so we're going to trace it all the way back to our feelings. Because we know if we're having bad thoughts, we're going to have bad feelings, and then that ultimately, it goes down all the way down to bad results, and it's terrible. But we're going to turn it around, and the miracle morning, I promise you, is going to give you incredible thoughts. You're going to train your brain, and you're going to have great feelings. You're going to want to run through walls and stuff. And then those great feelings give you great actions and energy and excitement, and then you start to see your great results. All right? So remember, those of you that are resistant, because we're going to talk about some crazy stuff coming up here, and some of that stuff involves some morning stuff. And I know you guys are going to be resistant, but it's not as bad as the shred. I'm not telling you to not drink coffee, all right? So if you want something to be different, we have to be willing to do something different. That makes sense, right? I mean, it's common sense. But how many times do we come home from conference and we're like, all right, that's it. I'm going all the way to NMD. And like a few days later, it's like, you're back to the same old routine. We got to do something different, okay? We have to trust. If people, like all of your upline leaders, anybody you can name in the Juice Plus company, they're all into personal development. And then when you get to people like Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama, and all these other people that are massively successful, not only do they have personal development or teach it, but they also are into the morning side of personal development, okay? So we're going to try to start this whole thing by starting the day well. And I'm going to teach you a way you can do it, a nice long morning session, or if you're super busy, there's even a way to kind of modify it down and get it shorter just to start, to see how it works for you. So we're going to stop hitting the snooze button, and maybe we should start with thinking about how we think about sleep, okay? Instead of thinking of like ending our sleep as this nightmare, that's the worst thing ever, because I know how it is. Sharon loves the snooze button so much, okay? This is what, when the alarm goes off, I don't know if I guess I wake up and she says, 5 more minutes, and then I have to say yes, and then she takes the time to set her alarm for 5 more minutes. And I don't know if I'm supposed to share that. I hope I'm okay. But it's the cutest thing you've ever seen. But we, if you're a snoozer and stuff, we want to not do that. Like, why would we do that? Well, we're probably not like super excited. Like, I bet you on a day when you have something going on, you have a really important appointment, or it's like the most exciting, or on like your kid's getting married, or you got on your wedding day, it wasn't like you were laying in bed on your wedding day and it was like, oh, let me just sleep another hour. And, unless there was a big party the night before, but you were probably jumping out of bed saying, here we go, this is awesome. All right. So in order to do that, it's important to do like a wake up affirmation almost the night before. Think through like the things that are going on the next day. If you're into like time blocking, maybe block out your time blocks for the following day. And then think about, okay, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to get 7 hours. That's even shred approved, 7 to 8 hours sleep. This is enough sleep. So when my alarm goes off at like 6 or 5:30, I have slept enough. So that's good. I can get up. And when I get up, I'm going to do this miracle morning thing Crazy Doug's talking about, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm going to make some coffee, and it's going to be great. So like do this affirmation, like these positive thoughts. Okay, then if you're a person that does snooze a lot, put the alarm further away from you. So you have to get up or even there's an app called Alarmy. That's pretty cool. That the alarm goes off, and you have to either like shake the phone a certain number of times to get it to stop, or do a math problem. Or the worst one of all is you can program it where you have to like take a picture of something like the shower head in order to turn the alarm off. And the alarm just keeps going until you take a picture of the shower head. So, I mean, some people are doing extreme things to wake up. All right. And then some of the other things to really get going is you're going to brush your teeth. You're going to feel fresh, and you're going to wash your face, maybe with some nice cold water, and it freshens you up. Guys like Tony Robbins have like an ice bath they jump into, or one of those frozen chamber things they go into in the morning, and they just jump into ice water. It's crazy, but they swear by it. And the next thing that the author suggests is to drink a full glass of water, just because you got a little dehydrated while you were sleeping, and there's something about it. I'm telling you, there's a formula in all this, and it works. All right, so here's the 6 parts of the Miracle Morning. This is it. And I'm going to put this poster into the team groups. I've already put some links in there for you guys, by the way, too. All right, so this is all you do in the morning, and you remember this. The first thing you do is silence. And I see some people are asking some questions. We'll do like a Q&A at the end. Silence is the first step. So I brush my teeth. I get a glass of water. I like to put a pot of coffee on. And then I love it because I get up before anybody's up in the house and it's quiet. Now, during your silence, you can practice breathing. You know, some of you might be into breathing, just breathing in real deep, breathing out. Some people, like, it's almost like meditative, where you might breathe in like peace and out with love. I like to breathe in faith and breathe out in love. And that, to me, that just gets me kind of focused on, you know, as a Christian person, a lot of the Miracle Morning does have like a spiritual element for me. So I'm like just being really peaceful and practicing gratitude. But when you're doing silence, and like, if you know anything about meditation, like, it's really, they call it a practice because it's hard to keep the thoughts from coming in. So it's something that I'm still working on. But I think of like a flat piece of wood, like, is on my head. Every time a thought comes onto the top of that wood, I just let it kind of slide right off. And I just have this visual of that, which confuses me sometimes because I feel like I must be thinking about something if I'm doing that. But if you focus on your breathing in, breathing out, and it's great. It's very serene and awesome. So you do that. And let's say you're doing 5 minutes per thing. That would be a 30-minute session. And ultimately, we're going to pick different times for everything. But maybe 3 to 5 minutes of silence. Then you're going to have affirmations. Now, I posted a link to something from Napoleon Hill. He's the one that wrote Think and Grow Rich. But also in the other links I put into the team groups, there's if you go to themiraclemorning.com and you sign up for their mailing list, you're going to get access to some other files that he has. He has his own affirmations he shares. Also, the Miracle Morning Level 10 Success Affirmations. So I shared with you guys the Napoleon Hill one, which I think is really great, which I was going to read to you guys. Let me pull that up real quick and show that to you. I wish I was better at making this happen fast. Here it is. So this is the thing I shared with you guys. And I'm just going to do the first couple, but if after you breathe in and breathe out, and you pray or whatever you do, then you read these out loud. I'm just as worthy, deserving, and capable of achieving extraordinary levels of success in all of my goals as any other person on earth. And that the only thing that separates me from those at the top is my level of commitment. So from this moment on, I'm 100% committed to becoming the person I need to be through daily personal development and living with daily discipline to easily attract, create, and sustain the level of success that I truly want and deserve in my life. I know to do this, I must be willing to stay committed to my goals and doing what's right as opposed to what's easy at a level that I've never been committed to before. I commit to reviewing these affirmations at least once per day, in the morning when I wake up, and ideally again before when I go to sleep. So you go through these affirmations. Now, for me, I like to do it where I have different categories because I also have my goals written down. I have health goals, I have business goals, and I have financial goals. Okay, and relationship goals. So I have a different section for each one. And I find that really helpful for me. So you do your affirmations, and that only takes you maybe 2 or 3 minutes to read through those. And then you practice something which I think has been one of the bigger keys that has made this different for me, and that is visualization. And it makes total sense to me now. And of course, in the book, there's like a chapter for each one of these, and you go really deep. But in visualization, you guys might know I'm a pretty avid golfer. And that's a really important part of golf. Like, you got to see the shot. You have to almost feel it before you do it. And that happens in a lot of other things too. If you look at like a gymnast what do you think they're thinking about before they run and they do that jumping move or whatever they're doing? I mean, in anything else that you do, you visualize it happening. At conference, Jules, when you and I got up on the stage and we were visualizing ourselves doing our speech at the conference, I wanted to see what it looks like up there, getting ready, and giving that as a goal for myself. So in visualization, so if my goal is to be an NMD and to be a great business person and to be a great Juice Plus representative and a great team leader, then I visualize who is the version of Doug that I need to be for that to happen. And I just see it in my mind, and I see myself talking to people, and I see myself following up on really hard phone calls, and I see myself coaching people, and I see myself celebrating when they're getting achievements, all these different things. And when it comes to my health goals, I see myself at the gym. I have a picture of myself in my head, that weighs about 30 pounds less and doesn't have an Achilles tendon that hurts, that's active and playing basketball with my daughter, and back to playing racquetball with Sharon, and I visualize these things, and it really makes a huge difference. So the next thing you do is exercising. Now it can be really quick, or like this morning, Sharon and I did this, and then we went over right to the gym, and we just went right into our exercise routine. Or you can just, when I'm doing this by myself, I like to do stretching, and I save my regular workout for later. So for this quick thing in the morning, I'll do some stretching. You might do some yoga poses. I do stretching, and then I do push-ups. And that just kind of gets the blood flowing, and it feels great. And then, of course, I have like these tight legs, so I stretch those out really good. And I do my golf stretches that I've learned that help me play better golf. The next part is reading. Okay, reading for me, that's Bible time. I do a Bible devotion during that time. You could also do some personal development reading or anything like that. Something that's like a growing thing where you're growing, not like reading on Facebook or something. So you choose something to read. And then the final part of it is scribbling, and that's just journaling or writing. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't really done that part. I've always tried to journal, but it's always been a struggle for me. And I'll be honest, anybody that has journal advice, you can send me a message or something, because I just haven't been able to get to where it's helpful for me. I'll do it out of a discipline, but it's not really clicking. And I don't know why that is, but I think I'm more of a thinker. Like I could spend a long time on visualization, and in the Strength Finders test, futuristic is my number one strength. So I have no problem thinking a lot, but when it comes to writing down thoughts, I don't feel like I need to really do that. But like I said, I'm still working on it. All right. So that's the savers, but what you can do is you can customize it, so like I said, when I first started, I was really excited because I really respect Clayton Getz and Stephanie Getz. They're amazing and they're really successful. So when they said, hey, this is the thing to do, then I say, whenever a leader tells me like, hey, you need to read this book, I read the book. When they say you need to do the Miracle Morning, I do the Miracle Morning. So I figured, I'll do about 5-10 minutes on each thing. Well, 10 minutes on each thing is 60 minutes. But I've also found that, 10 minutes of breathing is a long time. And, 10 minutes, it doesn't take 10 minutes to do your affirmation. So what I did in the beginning was I started with the Napoleon Hill type of affirmation that I've shared with you guys. And I kept adding my own thing. I add Bible verses into it that during my reading time, I would go back and type it in and things like that. So it's become very personal for me. But also your time can change. So let's say you're super busy and you're like, Doug, you're crazy. What am I going to do? Get up at 5 a.m? I don't know. Guys like Barack Obama found time to get up at 5 a.m. to do it. And I'm pretty sure he's busier than all of us put together. Okay. So, but if it still seems too early, and it is for me too, it's really long. So what I'll do is I'll get up a little bit early and do if you do only 5 minutes on each thing, that's only 30 minutes. And even in the book, there's a whole chapter on how to do the 6-minute Miracle Morning, where you do 1 minute on each thing and you just fly through it. So I could see how when you're doing silence, you could almost be stretching at the same time, and maybe that would count as exercise. And then there's been times when I do it really fast, where I just see how fast I can knock out 20 push-ups and just burn my chest a little bit, and I'm feeling good. And now I'm going to my devotion time, and then I end up skipping the scribbling because I'm bad at that. And I know Nalani's probably yelling at me right now or something, but I look forward to hearing the feedback from everybody. So you can customize it. Now, what you can't do, and he talks about this in the book, he tried, because this guy almost died in a car accident, and he kind of put his life back together, and he tried a bunch of different things. But as he studied what other people do, that one consistent thing was the morning, okay, the morning factor to get yourself going strong. So don't try to put it in, like at noon or something. I want to challenge you guys to try to create a morning routine to get your day going really, really well. So some resources, the book, you can get it on Amazon. You can also go to miraclemorning.com and order they're going to link you back over to Amazon, but you can register for some stuff over there. And he'll send you an email that gives you like 6 or 7 different resources, a few different affirmations. There's also a 30-day startup guide. I think he also sells a journal. And he has a recommended list of books that you could read, which is pretty interesting. There's some good stuff on there. There's also the Miracle Morning Facebook community that I'm finding really interesting because it's all about personal development. And people ask some really way out there questions, like they're dealing with like extreme depression, what suggestions do you have? And then people get these conversations going. I love that kind of stuff. The Alarmy app, that's something you can go to the app stores. And then I wanted to give a chance for some questions. Let me stop sharing real quick and go back over to Zoom. And let's see. I'm going to look at the chat. Oh yeah, writing things that you're grateful for. That's a huge thing. Even just practicing being grateful is a really important thing that you can do during your quiet time, So I'm going to unmute everybody. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording because it's going to get crazy. I'll pause it.
Because you are actually putting your thoughts on paper, and really that's all it is.
Okay. One thing I just realized I forgot to share with you guys is some of the results of what I've experienced. And the thing that surprised me the most is that when I went ahead and started doing this, that not only was I getting like more done, I was more focused, but my physical energy levels were just like through the roof. It just like I just keep going. Like, man, I had a great miracle morning this morning, and like there's no way I'm going to be ready for bed anytime soon. I mean, I just feel so good and excited. And even my son said a little while ago, he says, "Man, Dad, you've been working a lot today. You've been sitting on that couch." And I'm like, "Well, I'm just excited, and there's a lot to do, and it's fun." But there's other days where I'm thinking like, oh, some days I don't even know what to do, or I'm afraid to do it. You know what I mean? So as we retrain our brain into these positive thoughts that I am going to, I'm going to talk to people and it's going to be like effortless, and I'm going to have the right words to say. And, some people are going to say yes, some people are going to say no, but it doesn't even matter. It's great. I just want to share with people. And then it really, I think over time, you kind of brainwash yourself or something. It's really amazing. And I'm just enjoying it a lot. All right.
Doug, this is Sony, if I may add a comment onto that. Dr. Sears at the last conference, when he met with his health coaches, he talked about the next book. He's always writing a book, right? And he says, we all have ants, which is automatic negative thoughts. Mm-hmm. We all have ants. And the antidote to our ants is to have affirmations, have 4 or 5 affirmations. And he says, preload the brain with them. Preload the brain to have a great night's sleep by saying them before you go to bed. And preload the brain to have a great day by saying them first thing in the morning when you wake up.
Yes. Yeah, and so guys, we always are recommending that we do personal development. But something Sharon and I have realized is that we don't always tell you exactly what to do. And a lot of times everybody needs something a little different. But this is one that definitely applies to everybody because it's about a single routine that kind of is that you can fit other things into during the reading section. So I really encourage you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it important that you speak the affirmations out loud, or you can say them in your head?
Well, they say that you're supposed to say them out loud, but I don't always do that.
Okay.
You know? And I'm no expert, but I'm feeling, I feel physical effects, and I see myself changing, and I'm experiencing change and I'm not reading them aloud, because sometimes it's not convenient, depending where you are. And
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good too to find something that you like within that the one from Think and Grow Rich, the affirmation. I've taken parts of that so that and memorized parts of it so that the last thing before I go to sleep, I'm just as worthy, deserving, and capable of anyone. And not the entire long thing, but just that part. And then as soon as I'm conscious, the affirmations begin to come back in my head, because they're short enough to remember. And, you have your longer ones too that you remember. But it's your own personal, I think that's what Doug was, I think that's what you're saying. What works for you. If you make it personal to you, then it's much more.
Yeah. And you modify it, but you don't have to say it out loud.
You can have a combination. Right. You can, but not always.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Doug, it's Michelle.
Yes.
So I'd love to share really quickly my experience with the Miracle Morning. Yeah. So around the time that Doug finished reading the book, he was raving about it, and he said, you have to read it. So I read it, and I loved it. I listened to the audio version, which was great, and I started implementing the Miracle Morning. Well, before this, I felt like I was always not very clear-headed. Like I was always doing a lot of things, but not finishing any of them. And so I started doing the Miracle Morning, and I would do 5 minutes per thing. Like I would set my time, 5 minutes of silence, 5 minutes of reading, even reading 5 minutes. And that was something I hadn't been able to do for a while, was to read, because I could never concentrate to read. And I used to be an avid reader. And I actually finished a book in less than a month, because I was just taking 5 minutes to read some pages of a book. So for me, I have better clarity. I feel like it's, my days are more productive and better, and just getting that personal development in first thing in the morning is great. And then there's days that I do miss doing it, not doing it overall, but in the mornings. And I'm so addicted to it now that if I'm in the middle of the day, I'm still doing my 5 minutes, or I might even have certain things that are 2 minutes. Like Doug mentioned, affirmations are 2 minutes. I might journal for 2 minutes, because I'll write 3 things I'm grateful for. So it's been amazing. It truly has allowed me to be more focused and have more clarity in what I'm doing. And I feel like I'm being more productive, and I'm now actually back into, yes, I'm reading books again. I can focus on reading a book, even though I'm just doing 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you can read several pages of a book and get through it in a month. It's been a great experience.
And Jules asked, now that I've kind of given away the Cliff Notes version, if we should go ahead and really read the book. I would, because knowing what I know about the book now, I wouldn't even have done this if I thought you wouldn't buy the book because of it, because I feel like it's a big responsibility. I really think this is a life-changing thing, and I would definitely read the book. In fact, it's cool to hear, Michelle, that you listened to it and you loved it, because I was even thinking there's certain books I won't do on Audible that I just go ahead and read them. And this is one that I kind of feel, I actually have this one on both. So this is one that I kind of go through a couple times and make sure that I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great one to listen to, because in the Audible, I've listened to chapter 9, where he really talks about the meat of every part of the Miracle Morning in detail. And it's really you could actually just go to chapter 9 on audio and get the full, know everything you need to do for the Miracle Morning. But it is good to hear his story of how he got to that, how he was in a car accident, how his brain was injured, and how he had to start doing things to help him to get better every day. So I thought Audible was great, and I still have it on my phone, and I still listen to it. I still go back to it.
Yeah. It's good. All right, guys.
I have a question. It's Lucia. Hi. This is a little bit off topic, but I find I go to Facebook to look up Juice Plus stuff or to be productive or, social media. And then I get entrapped in the scrolling for, and it's 30 minutes later and I'm like, what am I doing? So any tips or tricks to still use social media as a platform to learn and to share and to do all that? Even the Miracle Morning, while you were talking, I went online and I went onto the Facebook group and I added myself. I, sent a request to add myself. But how do you not get sucked into the, endless scrolling of just mere nonsense?
Okay, so Stephanie raised her hand, but I'm thinking maybe, Stephanie, if you have an answer, you can unmute.
No, I have a question. Well, sorry, in regards to that, my question can wait till after you answer her.
Yeah, I would say, Lucia, it's just, it's a discipline thing. You have to be, there's a point, I think, for me that I realized that, some people have like 100 or 200 or 300 friends on Facebook, but then there's a point where you start adding friends of friends of friends of friends. And then you start to kind of realize it's almost like a marketing thing and expanding all these relationships. And you just can't get drawn into it. There's too many of those conversations going on. So I think you have to be intentional about not falling into that trap. For me, what I do is I'm using Teamsy now. And I see what Teamsy brings up on my news feed, on the people feed rather, and then if it says Jules Kilker, then I'll jump over to Jules Kilker's wall and see what she posted a little bit, and I might do a little post or a response to something, and then I'll send a direct message. Hey, Jules, just stopping by to say hey. I love the pictures of the kids. They look so cute, sit on Santa's lap, and have a great day. You guys are awesome. Give Cletus a big kiss for me. And then that's what I'll do. And then I'll go back to Teamsy, say, okay, who do I talk to next? That's during the power hour. But, some people, I don't know, Sharon or Jules or somebody, you have an answer on that maybe?
I think just you being aware of that, for me, that keeps me from continuing. And always thinking being proactive instead of reactive in all that we do. It just helps. And then I love the idea of the timer. And also just knowing what you're going to do when you go into Facebook and just limiting it, like doing the proactive things, the posting or the looking really quickly or the notifications that you really need, but going fast, like not getting hung up on stuff. That's what I've been doing lately. I've not been doing that much lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, note. I was just going to say, note too that this was designed to catch you. They really are good at it. And so having that consciousness because we all get caught up if we're not careful. And so like Sharon and Doug is saying, if you go to it knowing, sometimes like I've got blinders on, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to look at my own timeline because I know somebody's going to post something there that I'm going to want to attend to. So I get on there, go straight to my customer page or whatever it is that whatever it is I intended to do without thinking, without allowing myself to let my eyes go elsewhere because it's designed to catch you. So don't feel that it's you. It's us all.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, I'm going to close it up by just answering Stephanie's question, which was recommendations for using this with a 3-year-old in the morning. And I don't have a 3-year-old, but I'll share that I have been becoming more aware of teaching my kids about visualization and about positive thinking and affirmations. And even with like the teenagers, explaining how the mind works and how we can think positive and how we have to let go of mistakes in the past and not beat ourselves up and things like that. So, I mean, that's my only answer to that. I think, I don't know if it would work to go through the breathing and all that stuff with a 3-year-old, but I think there's probably some people that are, not 52, just figuring some of this stuff out like me, that probably have gone through their whole lives, practicing. There you go. Sit with them in your lap for 3 minutes, Sonia's writing, and do silence and breathing and all that kind of stuff. So I think trying to work it in is good, but I wouldn't I can imagine me trying to do that years ago, and I would end up just beating them or something. So that wouldn't be good.
Is she, if I was asking that question, I would be asking, how do I do it without my 3-year-old? Is that what you're asking?
Oh.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm asking, because he wakes up about 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so he is, he's ready to go. He's a loud, boisterous boy, and he's very energetic in the morning. And so trying to find, time to sit and be quiet and get him ready for school. He's up at 4:30, so I don't know if I want to wake up at 4 a.m. to do that 30 minutes before him.
Right.
So just tips and tricks on maybe trying to get around that. I don't know.
Well, I remember when, Sharon was really the queen of the children when they were young. And I remember the conversation she would have with Stacy and Julie and like trying to learn how to like train their schedules and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know what, Sharon, do you have any answer for that? Like, what do you suggest?
I mean, I would work it out somehow. I mean, surely he can let you have some silence maybe and some stretching, and he could stretch with you. But you could wait until he goes off to school and do it,
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be first thing. It's supposed to be. But you're in a time of your life where you've got to negotiate everything. Sounds like, So, but he's talking about getting him on a different schedule maybe. I mean, you do have Super Nanny there in town with you. So that's Stacy, by the way.
Very true.
Who could make sure he sleeps later for you somehow.
Oh, man, it'd be so nice.
That's what I was thinking. Stacy can determine when I wake up.
And bring her over and have her sleep train him.
Yeah. She could do it.
She could.
And I
Very true.
Yeah, you have to search for answers. And I know it's probably hard to hear it from me because I'm not a mom. But you have to search for answers. And there is going to be a point. Everybody's kids are different, like you guys, God made all of us unique. And some of them are going to be a little more rambunctious or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You have to look for.
I have a 15 and a 13-year-old already. So we started over and had a 3-year-old.
And we'll close it out with Sony, and she's so right. I love that hashtag. She always
Find your rhythm.
Find your rhythm. And that is so true. Yep. Just finding your groove in life and like just operating within your life, and making sure that that's a life that is leading where you want it to go, and you're not being led down astray. You know what I mean? So we have to work on the brain and the thoughts, and I think it's a timely message with all that we're doing in the company, and the company supporting us with the Brené Brown type trainings and all that. So thanks so much for coming on, you guys.